Well, hello again. It's still December 2023, and this is historic video number 4. Now, today I'm going to talk about several things. First of all, the best story of my many memories, which is kind of almost like a horror story. You could make a good horror movie out of it. Then I'm going to talk about, bad hair days. How about this for a bad hair day? Now, when you're 85 years old, you have a bad hair day every day. But we'll move on from that. Now, the next thing I'm going to talk about, we're going to need several props. One prop is this picture of myself. How about that? That's me wearing a very interesting shirt 40 years ago. And guess what I'm wearing today? A 40-year-old shirt to illustrate that my clothes budget is close to zero. I wear clothes I'm still wearing when I was 15 years old. Look at my beautiful pants. I got all dressed up for you guys today. Can you believe these pants? I got them in a Club Med vacation I took 50 years ago. Now, I'm not going to show you the hole in the rear end because that would be a little bit risque for this kind of audience. But trust me, there's a hole in the back, so I can't really wear these outside. Although I'm thinking I could put a nice patch on. Like, remember there was a favorite cartoon of mine called Little Abner, and Little Abner lived in Dogpatch, and everybody was wearing clothes with nice colorful patches on. In fact, that's a great idea. I'm going to have my sixth wife sew on a patch. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you a story about my, what was he, second or third wife? Must have been third. My third wife and me. Here comes prop number 1. Okay, got that? Yeah, that's me there, only about 50 years ago. Now, where was I? Oh, yeah. Here's a little bit of my art collection before we move on. Now, other people spend thousands and thousands of dollars for an art collection, but not me. I either collect postcards or I have them repainted. Here is one from ancient Rome. It's a little bit humorous. It's a dog or something eating what? A cabbage? Oh, I think he's eating a chicken leg. Well, interesting, huh? And then here's my $100 million copy that I paid maybe $200, including frame. But we're going to move on, says my director. Okay, here we go. Let's go. How do you like my decor? I decided I would have a special place just to hang hats. And there we go. Pour this way, not clotheslines. Okay, hats. Now we're going to move over here to my beautiful apartment, and we're going to take prop number 2. This is a part of my story that I'm going to tell. It's kind of a great horror story, but you know what? We're going to go outside for that. Okay, so the next time you see me, I'm going to be dressed like a Frenchman, just for you, and we're going to go outside to a little French town and take pictures. Oh, I almost forgot. I was going to talk to you about making movies. Now, my favorite movie, or one of my favorite movies, was called the Ed Lee story. I think a guy called Caprioso, Leonardo Caprioso, he was in that story. And it's a story about the worst movie maker of all time. And the reason his movies were so bad were that he only took one take. And that's why my movies are so bad, because every time we do one of these videos, it's one take. And that's why I showed you these props in advance, because I didn't know how to, while I'm telling the story, to kind of go back and show the props. So this is called the one take video, And yeah, it's a little amateurish, but yeah, so what, Okay. Hi again. My director has said that the only reason I'm going to get more subscribers from the 3 I have at the moment is with spectacular costume changes. I know a lot of you are watching this just to see what Grandpa will wear today. And here I am in the Oceanographic Museum of Monaco, broadcasting to you live, and here I'm wearing my French outfit. So we will move on to a typical French town in a few seconds, but I wanted you to see my outfit. Oh, wait, before you go, my director, who's so intelligent guy, I said my favorite movie was an Ed Lee movie about the worst filmmaker that ever lived. No, it was Ed Wood with a movie I think was called The Ed Wood Story with Leonardo DiCaprio. No, it wasn't Leonardo.
No, Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp. Okay, well that's close. They're both male. No cutting yet. I want to talk about that movie. As I said, this movie that we're seeing right now, this second, is one take, no going back. The only other place where you'll see one take movies is in the adult film industry, which I can't talk about much on YouTube because they'll cut me. But that's where they take one take, finished. And that's what we're going to do today. See, even the lights went out. Here we are in a typical French town. Get in a little closer so the sound is good. We're in a typical French town, and I'm having my daily walk. It's still December of 2023, and I think in a few seconds we're going to have an encounter with a great big dangerous animal. You won't believe that this big dangerous animal we're going to have an encounter with, but he's coming up. Oh my God, I am so scared. Look at what we're having. Oh, turn the camera around. I am so scared. Oh my God, he's grabbing me. No, he's grabbing me.
Don't break it. Don't break it.
I won't break anything. Oh my. Well, you know what that reminds me of? Is in the Ed Wood story. We already corrected it. It was the Ed Wood, not Ed Lee, but in the Ed Wood story, in one of his famous horror movies, Ed Wood hires a Boris Karloff, who by that time is a hopeless drug addict. Well, this Boris Karloff is supposed to be attacked by a giant octopus. And so Johnny Depp has managed to borrow an inflatable rubber octopus. But oh no, you can't take it into the sun. I'll just do a silhouette. So this giant octopus, which you're supposed to inflate, doesn't inflate. And so, because he has a very limited budget and can only do one take at a time, oh, here's another wild animal. Well, this French town is all full of wild animals. Look at this one. Get over here. This is another wild animal. Wow. This one, what is this? A wild horse? It's called a Mustang. Well, anyway, we're going to move on. And look at these. I don't know if you have these in America, but look at these interesting restaurants in the menus. 14 to 20 francs, you get a really first-class Chinese lunch. Okay, we're going to move on here. So I'm about to start what my director thinks is one of the more interesting stories and memories of my life. We already showed you the picture of my ex-wife. She's about the only one that still likes me. But I'm now going to tell the story. And thinking about it, well, here we go. I was in my house, and I had a rental property down the road that was rented by a guy who we'll call Preston Sturgeon. And Preston Sturgeon was a very strange guy who, he wasn't drunk all the time. Here, look at what we're passing now. The French love their dogs so much, man. This is, oh, they can get, let people read the thing, you know. Here, watch my good French again. We will educate and compartmentalize your dog. And we'll educate him and re-educate him, and we'll teach him to sing, and he'll be a guard dog. See? And here's his email, in case you're ever in France and want your dog trained. Okay, now getting back to my story. I think I'll have a seat down here, because when you're my age, you get tired very easily. Okay, here we go. So, so I'm in my my house, and this guy, Preston, who is always, I don't know if you call it high, but he used to take what we call in those days, this is 50 years ago now, he used to take what they call soporifics. It was a pill that makes you kind of happy and a little bit out of it. And he came over to my house and said, "Hey, Grandpa," I wasn't a grandpa then, but I'm going to call myself grandpa anyway. "Hey, Grandpa," he says, "I need to borrow some tools from you." "Why? What tools do you need?" He said, "Well, I need a lot of tools because the sun shines on my face in the morning, and I want to put up a barrier in front of the sun." Okay. So I heard his request, and now I'm going to tell you what happened to me that morning. That morning, I got very angry at a deer. I'm talking about one of those things with, antlers. My bad hair day will be showing in a minute. And it's so hot today. It's like Christmas, but see how nice it is in the south of France. I'm going to do a striptease for you. I know you wanted to see that badly. Okay, so that morning, or maybe it was the day before, I had earlier planted a bunch of magnolia bushes. I don't know if magnolia was the flower, but it's a hedge that will grow to about 12 feet high, has full of flowers, and it blooms for quite a bit of the year. And I was waiting for my magnolia to grow, which takes a couple of years, but I had just planted these bushes. And I went out into the yard, and guess what? There was a deer eating my magnolia bushes. And I got very angry with that deer, and I said, "Get out of here, deer. Beat it. Go away. Stop eating my flowers." And guess what that deer did? Just eating the damn flowers all the time, and he wouldn't leave. Okay, so I said, okay, it's mafia time, it's gangster time. And I went in, and in those days I collected guns. And so I had a very scary one. It was called a buntline special. It was a revolver, but the barrel was very long. And I said to that deer, "See this here buntline, man? I'm going to blow your brains out unless you stop eating my flowers." Well, what do you think the deer did? Same as always. All right. So I decided I'll shoot in the air. Ooh, there's a bird going by. Well, anyway, I shot in the air, and that damn deer, she keeps eating my flowers. Okay. So I decided, okay, I'm going to shoot right over his head, and he'll hear that bullet going by, and that will definitely scare him. So I took about 100 paces away, and then I took aim with my bunt line, and I was shooting maybe a few feet over the guy's head. Well, I don't know if it was a guy or a girl, but it was a deer. And I shot the poor deer. And I thought the deers didn't talk and make any sounds, but that deer went, ah, ah, oh. Oh, and I was quite sad because I didn't really want to kill that deer, but now he got a shot in the head, and well, I just went over there and finished him off. Well, I felt very bad about that. And remember the picture of that lady I showed you? Well, she ran out and said, "What did you do? What did you do?" I said, "Well, I shot this here deer." See, that would have been beeped in if we were only taking a lot of tape. Well, I shot that boop, 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 deer. Okay. Well, anyway, she said, "You are such a bad guy. That poor innocent deer wasn't doing anything wrong." I said, "Yeah, I was doing something wrong. I was eating my flowers." She said, "Well, I'm not going to talk to you for a few days. I'm leaving." I said, "Well, for good?" She said, "Well, maybe for good, maybe not." Well, later on, I learned she had a boyfriend on the side, and whenever she had an excuse to get away for a while, that was what she used. But anyway, I didn't know that at the time, so she stormed off in a fury. And in the meantime, I'm wondering what I should do with that dead deer, because the deer was out of season. You know, you're allowed to bump off deer for a month or so, but well, you know, the statute. Hey, my director is giving me a dirty look. Hey, this was 50 years ago. You think? I'm sure the statute of limitations on killing deer has run. But anyway, I at the time I was a little worried. You know, I shouldn't bump off a deer out of season, and so I called a friend of mine who was a deer hunter, which was another one of my favorite movies, but I have a tend to go off the track. But anyway, my friend the deer hunter comes over and says, "Well, no use letting this deer go to waste. I will skin it, and after I skin it, it'll have to be hung up at a cool place for a few days to age the meat, and then I'll take part and you take part, and we'll have a nice venison dinner." I said, "Okay, that sounds reasonable." So he skinned the deer, I watched, and he hung up the deer. Oh, pardon me, we went to my basement, and we hung up the deer. My director is getting very mad. He wants me to move on. All right,
No,
we're going
let's
to move
walk.
on. Oh, I won't even put on this jacket because it's very hot, and I'll go on with the story. So you think it's more interesting to be moving along instead of sitting in one place? Okay, I agree with you. Now I'll look like a real Frenchman here. Notice the stilt. You have that authentic look. And then we'll tie this on. We'll start walking again. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. So now getting back to my story. So the deer is hanging in the basement, and I told my director, have a picture from Rocky, the movie, of these skinned cows all hanging up, you know, where he punches them all, but I don't know if he did that, but it doesn't matter. So here's this deer hanging up in my basement, and of course I don't want to have anybody see it, because after all, I shot a deer out of season, and in America you get the electric chair for that. So I like electric blankets, but not electric chairs. Okay, we're getting back to my story. So this Preston, he's saying, "Okay, get me some tools." And I said, "Okay, give me a second, Preston, and I'll go down to my basement and get you the tools you need." What is it, a hammer, some nails, pliers, stuff like in that toolkit we just showed you. All right. So I get up and start to go to the basement, and he's following like 2 steps behind me. I said, "Hey, Preston, I'll get the damn tools for you, but you don't have to come with me." Well, why did I say that? I said that because I didn't want him to see the deer, hanging up there. You never can trust people. Well, anyway, I start going down to the basement to get the tools for this guy. Oh, remember that big bear we saw? Wow. Here's his baby, a baby cub deer. He must have lost his baby. Wow. Anyway, I head down to the basement, and this guy is a few steps behind me. And I said, Preston, we just stay upstairs. Don't come down. I can get this tool without you. He said, I'm going to come with you because I need that tool right away. I said, okay. And then on the way down, he says, hey, I haven't seen your wife. He didn't call her my third wife because I didn't tell him. But anyway, I haven't seen your wife Mary lately. And I said, well, that's because she's gone. And he said, oh, I always wondered how you got such a pretty wife being so ugly and having such a lousy personality. I said, well, I may have a sex appeal or something. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, she's gone. Well, he says, temporarily or permanently? I said, permanently, I hope. Permanently. So he follows me down to the basement, and it's quite dark down there. And so I didn't want him to see the hanging up deer. And so I just opened the door a crack to let in a little bitty light. And I said, Preston, wait outside. He said, why? Is there something you don't want me to see? I said, no, Preston, it's nothing like that. I just don't want you coming in. Well, that damn Preston, he pushes the door, boom. He comes in, and remember I said he was always a little bit out of it because he's taking these drugs. And so Preston, they're gonna run us down like there'll be road pizza in a minute. Okay, so Preston, he takes a look. Oh, he says, oh my God, oh my God. Oh, he's looking at the deer. And when you cut a deer's arms off and its legs off and just hang it up, it could be a human being, Well, anyway, so he's looking at this deer, and he said, is that Mary? And I said, well, Preston, I told you not to come down here. Yeah, that was Mary. Well, Preston screamed, ah, 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 and he runs away. And I said, oh, come on, I was only kidding. I said that to myself because he was gone. And Preston has run away thinking that he saw Mary all strung up like a butchered deer. Oh my God. Well, I didn't know if he was going to call the cops or something, because that is even worse than if, bumping off a deer, you get the electric chair, but when you bump off a human, you get 2 electric chairs. Well, in any event, getting back to my story, I didn't think any more about it. And the next thing that happened was the next day. The next day, I go out in my garden that the deer was eating, and Preston, he's sitting in a bench in my garden. I say, hi, Preston, how you doing? He says, oh, Bill, you wouldn't hardly believe me, but yesterday night I had absolutely the worst nightmare that you could imagine. He says, I dreamed that you killed Mary and hung her up, and I think you even offered to have a cannibalistic feast with me. I remembered. Yeah, I said we could have that cooked in a pressure cooker a little later today. Well, I didn't say that, but I was only kidding, But not about Mary. I was kidding about Mary, but not about the deer. I was going to cook him in a pressure cooker. Okay, getting back to our story. So I'm kind of relieved that he thinks it was only a nightmare. And then, because I'm a very mischievous fellow, I said, well, Preston, it wasn't a nightmare. You want to go down to the basement again and see what I did to Mary? I thought that was pretty funny. And he says, no, no, and he starts screaming and then runs away. And that should be the end of my story. Should I tell the real end? He says it doesn't matter if I tell the real end or not. Well, no, I'm not going to tell the real end. The real end is too horrible. But Mary did come back. But by that time, Preston was gone forever. I don't know if on another story I should tell you what happened to Preston. But as a direct result of what he now learned was not a nightmare, Preston, he's up there now. Take a picture of the blue. Okay, and that is today's story. We'll have a little walk. Maybe I'll think of something else to say. A lot of good-looking women out today having lunch. But my cameraman here, he says, don't take pictures of them because they'll sue you for invading their privacy. Okay, so here we are in a typical French town. And I told you the story of Preston and Mary, and the only prop we didn't have was those cow carcasses hanging up from the Rocky movie. Maybe he'll put those in later, because this is a one take show. And here we're coming to the end of the block and the end of video number 4. Now look at this. In this country, there's wild fruits growing all over the place. Now these fruits are called kumquats. See? You can pick them and eat them. You could live for free here off the fat of the land. Wow, what a country. Here's more kumquats. And if you don't want to spend money on flowers, you could pick the daisies. Look at these nice daisies. And I'm going to smell the flowers. Daisies don't smell very good. Well, here we are, smelling the flowers, enjoying the sunshine, and you've heard the horror story of Mary and Preston, and we'll close for the day. Hey, remember how I told you that in this neighborhood that you could go to a different restaurant every day of your life and never repeat? And here is an illustration of that. Look at this. Just opened today. I can't believe it. A Tibetan restaurant. Wow. We gotta try this place because how often, well, this is the first Tibetan place I've ever seen near Monaco. Let's look at the menu. Wow. There. Can we read that? Go in for a close-up and let people pause their thing. And all kinds of good stuff. Gimbaji and Atabish Manchianchi and Alu Zip Zip and Lang Shou Shapao. Wow, all kinds of good Tibetan stuff that I don't even know what it is. So, well, anyway, that's nice. Okay, I think that was just a little PS to this exciting video. I'm having my daily walk, and here we come across a beautiful French girl who is going to tell us the story of her life in 10 words or less. Go.
What I have to say?
Well, the story of your life.
Oh, I have mother of 2 beautiful child, and
Yeah.
this is my restaurant over there.
Oh my God, we'll give you free
Yes.
publicity. Here, come on, let's go.
Come and take a look if you want.
Le Petit Pacha.
Yes, the Pasha is my son,
Oh,
6 years old,
very nice.
and you can have everything you want, and
Okay.
it's very good.
Well, I want to tell you
Yes.
that you're going to be so crowded tomorrow of my viewers.
Okay.
I have 3 viewers,
Wow.
1 in Thailand and 2 in California.
Okay.
And they're all going to come tomorrow to La Petite Pacha
Yes,
Gourmand.
with a
Merci
pleasure.
beaucoup.
Take care of you. Bye.
Okay,
Thank
bye.
you.
Okay, to my free viewers anywhere in the world, I want to tell you about a unique danger in France. When you buy a new car in France, the birds gang up and decide to do poo-poo on your car. You think I'm kidding? Look, here's a new Dacia. He just drove out the showroom, and look at the blizzard he got. I know you think I'm kidding, but we're just gonna walk to the next car. Oh, we know you think I'm kidding, right? You think I'm joking. Well, I'm not joking. The minute you buy a new car in Paris, the words, Paris? Okay, not Paris, anywhere in France. The minute you buy a new car, the birds send out signals to each other. And they decide, we're gonna do, you know what, on any new car that comes out of the showroom. So this guy, just 5 minutes ago, he bought his car, and look at this. Wow. Now here, watch this. You think the birds ain't doing you do it on the front? No, look at this. Can you believe this? Woohoo! Pan over there and get that whole car. Oh. Yeah. Oh. Okay, that ends